Anime Addicts, before you skip this promo, let me just tell you that on Hobby Addicts today, Mitsuki discussed how he almost rolled an SUV down a mountain trail over the weekend. Pretty exciting stuff from the Pope. And let's be honest, is your life really going to be complete without Hobby Addicts in it? Take a step back, think about it. Will it be complete? And if not, head over to aaapodcast.com/join, where you can get Hobby Addicts and so much more, including our hentai episodes. Or you could also head over to patreon.com, throw us a couple bones, and we will throw you a bone. Lots of extra podcast content for you to enjoy. And now, time to start the show.
Get ready! You're about to listen to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your anime addiction worse at aaapodcast.com. And now, here are your anime addicts.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast, where we try our best to make your anime addiction better?
Worse.
No, that doesn't sound right to me. Yeah, worse. Hello, my name's Caroline, and I'll be running the ship into rocky terrain and probably sinking it. But that's okay, because I have my skipper, Mason. How you doing? And your new digs, original
I'm
digs.
the skipper, I suppose. Thank you for having me. Glad to do whatever it is we do on this show, but excited to be back on the East Coast and record the same quality content as I always don't.
Well, I was going to say that Mitsuki is the guy who cleans the poop deck, but he's formed a mutiny. He has taken the captain's hat. So
I've taken the steering wheel. I don't know how to drive the ship. We're going to crash the boat for sure. And plus I'm all hopped up on orange monster energy. Wait a second.
you didn't open the can though. You
Oh,
didn't
it's
open
so
the can for
good.
the audience.
Listen, it's so good. Sometimes you just can't wait the extra 30 seconds to open the pop top. You got to just, you got to have a preemptive sip prior to the podcast starting. But fuck, I am happy to be here. I love the episodes where we select our anime, and I am ready. And if you think you're excited, feel these nipples.
Nice.
I
I
feel
have
like the
also
only
brought
solution...
a beverage. Got my coffee.
there we go.
Did not spill it this time either. So we're on a roll.
Don't spill
And
it.
Mason, what did you bring? Your beverage of choice.
The return of the OG Nuji Blue Water Cup as on brand. I was going to say, Mitz, the only solution to get people the monster cracking opening sound that they long for is to just have another monster on this podcast.
Oh, a
Could
second
your blood
one.
take it? Yeah.
Oh, well, I have no second monster, but, it's a good suggestion. And I appreciate that you're trying to make my heart explode and kill me. So this is all part of
There
your
is
your
not
evil
another
plot.
monster in your abode right now, like, that you could, in case
I
of
believe that's
emergency?
the cargo that we're carrying on this ship, isn't it?
There is, but it's not. But
Coffee.
the other monster belongs to another, so I cannot steal her monster from her. For it is very important.
I guess the other option we could do is you can record you opening up a can of Monster and just have it play whenever you want. You don't even have to open up another can.
I could just play the drop.
That's too disingenuous, though. Our listeners demand the real thing.
It's true.
They'll know the difference. Well, anywho, thank you to us for beverage talk. Now it's time to get to the good stuff. We are here to make your anime addiction worse. So of course, we are going to talk about anime, specifically our summer selections, because the new season is around the corner. Hard to believe, but it's true. And we are going to pick which ones we want to do our impressions on. That is going to be up first. And then later on, we'll have our review of Re:Zero Season 2 Part 2.
Oh my
Exciting.
god. It's very exciting.
So should we stew around here any longer, or should we just head right into the big news of the week?
No, I don't need to crack open your Monster Energy pancake. Oh. There we go. She did it anyway. All right.
That's
All right, here we
we can
go.
always count on.
Big news of the week.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
All right, well, it's very interesting. Sometimes in Japan, when you're fishing in a body of water, in a river, I guess, you just don't know what'll happen, what you'll find. You could find the strangest of things. People have found giant crabs in the Sea of Japan eating human corpses. You could find jellyfish, or you could find dead bodies. Or were they dead? So a YouTuber was fishing in some river in Japan, like filming a video or whatever for YouTube, and they said, quote, "While I was finishing my fishing video, I thought that a corpse had come floating by, but it turned out to be a love doll." And it seems someone misunderstood what it was and called the authorities. So a ton of police, fire trucks, and ambulances showed up. Thankfully, the wife was safely rescued. So, man, I did not cut these photos out as I should have for Twitch. So I might be able to get them here for people on Twitch, but they've got all kinds of. Japan is a strange place, and they've got all sorts of services set up for people's love dolls. It's a different conversation altogether, really. But in Japan, people have been known to have funeral services for their loved dolls. They've been known to get them cremated. They've been known to apparently people have adopted loved dolls like into their families, or have even investigated like love doll kidnappings. So this is like a whole thing. But in Japan, apparently,
Weird.
they found a love doll floating down the river, and I'm getting the picture right here, and a whole host of emergency medical services vehicles showed up. Probably like, let's see, from the photo, there's like at least 2 is an ambulance, a fire truck, several police cars, all so they could fish a love doll out of a river. It's just too much. Like this Japan is a wild, crazy place, but. What do you guys think about this? While I pull this picture up for people.
So when you're single and complaining to all your friends, like, "Oh, I just can't meet someone," and they say, "Oh, cheer up, there's plenty of fish in the sea," do they mean just literal like love dolls floating in the waters? Are they dissing you? Is that what I'm hearing?
This love doll is so skinny. Look at the love doll. It really does look like a dead body.
It absolutely does. Like, there's that picture of the guy like hauling it out, and it looks like just a decapitated person, and it is quite horrifying.
I can see 2 fire
Look at those
trucks.
buns.
Her buns are they're
They're thigh
like,
gap.
she's
That's
got
impressive.
a like an 8-inch thigh gap. It's
Although
not,
I have to say, it's absolutely creepy, the picture that they're hauling her out of the water. Where'd her head go?
oh, I don't know. Her legs are like 6 feet long in that picture. I think the love doll had seen better days from being in the water for quite a while. But in Japan, it's like you have to put your trash out in like the street to get the recyclables collected. So they separate their trash into a lot of different types. There's burnable trash, and there's non-burnable trash. And the non-burnable gets sorted into different categories, of which plastics is one of those. So you would literally have to put the love doll outside on the street, or I guess you could chop her little love doll body up into pieces and like put it into a bag or something, which is probably the more discreet method. And can you imagine? It's like old lady like walks down the street and she sees like a bag full of chopped up body parts. You'd have another round of emergency medical services showing up, but I guess somebody
I'm
was
pretty
just
sure that must have happened. Like somebody tore apart a mannequin, put them into bags, and probably had the cops called on them. I'm sure that has happened many times.
this person clearly did not want to deal with the embarrassment of placing their love doll into a bag on the street, so they just dumped it in a river like a corpse.
I mean, no kink shame, but like, I could see this being a movie where some guy's just like, this love doll has forsaken me. I'm gonna give her like a Viking funeral, but she survives and comes back to haunt him. Like, yeah, I'd watch that. That'd be interesting.
Or it was just the beach episode. They could have just had a beach episode and it went wrong.
Well, whatever it was, there was no good way out of the situation, and except for the only correct way out of this was to just suck up the embarrassment and put your love doll out on the street. But I don't know. It's like something you do in the middle of the night. Nobody would even know who it belonged to. So, what else we got, guys?
Okay. Well, I saw this a few days ago, and I was really excited because I'm like, oh boy, we haven't heard about this in a while. Thank God we have an update. It's the Uzumaki 4-part series that Adult Swim was producing. It was supposed to come out like last year, but it's been delayed so much that I'm like, I honestly did not even know where it was at, like when it was planning on coming out now. But there was a video, a teaser video of the anime for Junji Ito's Uzumaki. So it was of the director, I believe his name is like Hiroshi Nagahama. He did Mushishi and Flowers of Evil. And it was just him explaining the circumstances behind the anime and what the deal was and when they think it's going to be out now, which the time is believed to be October of 2022. A lot further than what we were hoping, but
You gotta be kidding.
you know, he was pretty direct with it. It's like, listen, we had to change up a lot of things. COVID really put a kink into our plans, but the thing is that we're all very passionate about this project. We are trying our best to make this as amazing as possible. Hence is the reason why it's taking so long. And honestly, it is a kind of a funny video because, you know, Adult Swim just put so much focus on like the clinking of his zipper on his jacket and like just weird edits, and it was kind of funny. But then he ended the video with showing a very small teaser of the first part of the first episode. And I have to say, it looks so damn good. It looks like this is as good as a Junji Ito anime is going to look. So it's obvious why it's taking so long. And honestly, if it's going to be like that for 4 episodes of this, I think it is well worth the wait in order for it to be as good as possible, which I think it is going to be. So yeah, I'm still very excited. Disappointed it's not going to come out at all very soon. But eventually we will have it, and eventually it will probably be pretty great.
I mean, what's the Miyamoto quote? Like, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. Like,
Yeah.
take your time. Like, no one's gonna get spoiled by Uzumaki. No one's gonna be like, yes, it stinks, but make it good. Put in the time, and I think we'll appreciate that a lot more.
I mean, it's kind of an interesting quote because it seems like a lot of times when games take forever to come out, it's because there's some kind of a problem in the production. And so a lot of these delayed games end up being like terrible. Like, you'd almost rather them not even actually probably be better off without them, because some poor guy spends $60 on a borderline unplayable version of Cyberpunk. You know what I mean?
Well, I think like, yeah, delayed games might not spell the greatest future, but I think any rushed game is going to have an even worse outcome, usually.
I mean, I get that every delayed game can't be as good as Duke Nukem, but that aside, you know, they're still better than what they would have been.
I fucking played that game. I think I rented it from Blockbuster or something. That
What a
game was
madman.
unbelievably bad. I mean, my God. Duke Nukem is a madman.
Honestly, the most important announcement from the Uzumaki trailer, which I've been harping on for months now, but it was, I guess, finally revealed or cemented in my mind that Colin Stetson is going to be doing the soundtrack for it, which is all I needed to hear. I've talked about him plenty, but he is just this crazy saxophonist. He did the soundtrack for Hereditary, and he just makes these nightmare-scape music, and he'll be a perfect fit, and I'm super hyped. So
Yeah, they played clips of the soundtrack, and I think it's only been like a couple of teaser trailers that they have, and it's so unsettling. And the thing with me and Junji Ito is that I've talked about this before, how he kind of taps into a very visceral fear in a lot of humans with like how gory and horrifying some of his stories and art is, which is the reason why I have a hard time consuming his work. But it's just there's just something about it that just draws you in, so I have to watch this. So yeah, I'm excited, even though it's a little bit disappointing.
I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. It better be. So
It better be.
it fucking better be.
It better be.
I mean, worst comes to worst, we always have the manga to turn back to, so no risk.
Mason?
My big news, last week it was all about Netflix. This week it's all about Funimation is making money moves. Kind of two different stories. One is Funimation announced on Wednesday that it is expanding its Latin American service to Colombia, Chile, and Peru, which is great that it's becoming more and more available across the world and makes it easier and easier for more anime fans to jump on board. So, big thumbs up. Love to hear it. Second thing is they've announced a slate of movies that they will be streaming. First and foremost, top of everyone's head, in case you have not seen it yet, June 22nd. So probably by the time you are hearing my voice right now, the Demon Slayer movie, Kimetsu no Yaiba Mugen Train, is going to be on Funimation for you to watch. So if you have an account there, you can finally hear what all the hype is about. Followed by July 9th, another movie that I'm excited for called The Stranger by the Shore. And another movie without a date yet, but another precious installment in like a 2-part OVA side story thing in the Natsume's Book of Friends will be coming to Funimation as well. So a couple great entries and more service makes Funimation better than it was yesterday. So good news.
All right.
That's it. Just quick and easy.
Just more countries to be dominated by Demon Slayer in the end. It will now spread to South America at large.
Indeed. The juggernaut continues to roll.
All right. Well, that was big news. What's coming up next, Caroline?
Well, I believe it's our main topic. And that would be our summer 2021 anime selections. Woo! So maybe we should just do a quick explanation of what this is all about at the beginning of every season before it starts up. We each pick from a list, or rather we just go through all the anime that is coming out this season. We make a list from 1 to however many of the ones that we want to check out the most. And then we roll a dice, and whoever gets the highest number gets to make their pick first.
It was me.
And then
I had the highest.
yeah,
roll.
Mitsuki got the highest. I think I got the second highest, and then Mason was at the bottom.
I got the third highest. Let's call it that. It was a bad roll.
The good news is, spoiler alert, we each got our first choices, which is good. Unfortunately, though, I think we can all agree this season it's going to be a little bit of slim pickings, but it'll also make it easier for us to make our locks. So in the coming episodes, once 3 episodes of all these anime have come out, we will do impressions, and then we will make our picks on what we want to do a full review of. We each have 2, and then we'll be relying on you later to make our 3 final picks. But this is only the first step in a long process, so we are going to go through each of our preliminary choices. So do we start from the bottom?
Yeah,
And
we
from
start
the top.
We do. We start from the bottom.
Okay. Would somebody else like to? Mitsuki, since you got the first roll, would you like to go first?
I will, and I got clips from Pancake. We're looking at every trailer, and
Oh, great!
some
I
of these
love
are
this.
very. Some of you know what? Fuck it.
Do you like pancakes? Yeah, we like pancakes.
There you go. I
I love it.
some of these clips are very offensive, so be warned, I guess. There's no holding back. It's like, just be aware that you could hear just about anything through these clips. So, and I'll keep playing
So
them.
if you're showing your mom this podcast for the first time, you're like, wow, I love these people. They talk about anime. This is not the episode for you.
No,
or
I
at
would
least
say-
mute it for 5 seconds at a time.
I have 6 clips and half of them are rated R. So be aware of that. So the first one I picked here, and let's be honest, like we all wanted I feel like we all wanted the same shit from the season. Well, actually, I feel like Mason and Caroline wanted the same stuff, and I was just like picking all this random shit that like no one else seemed to care about. Because I got my first pick and then my 3rd through 8 choices. So I got pretty much everything I wanted except the second one because Mason wanted it very badly. He was not going to let anybody else have it. So
No, I wasn't.
So the number 8 anime on my list is Peach Boy Riverside. And to be honest, there's really no... I really have no rhyme or reason for selecting these. I just kind of look at the pictures. I look at the pictures, I glance at the synopsis, and I pick them. So, because we're gonna pick them all anyway, pretty much. So, Peach Boy Riverside is about Saltarine Aldyke, or I'm just reading this straight off of Mal, and it doesn't make any sense. A bright, cheerful princess who wants to go on adventures because she's bored of her tiny little castle in the countryside. Sounds like a pretty original storyline. One day, a horde of vicious demons known as Oni come knocking on her doorstep, threatening the lives of everyone in the kingdom. Thankfully, they are saved by a lone traveler named Kibitsu Mikoto, who slays these demons with a mysterious, quote, peach eye. What the fuck? Shocked by the dangers of the outside world, Sari, who is the princess, decides to set off on a journey of her own. Little did she know that she would set in motion a chain of events that will come to determine the fate of this magical world. I feel like almost all my anime are fantasies this time. Directed by Shigeru Ueda, who did the directing for Geki Doll and some of Senran Kagura. Asahi Productions is the studio, and it's based on a manga. So, I watched the trailer. I pretty much have the trailer up like right in front of me, honestly, and it's, I don't know. I mean, I just think it looks like a pretty generic like anime adventure show, honestly. It has some pretty annoying looking like anthropomorphic animal characters in it. Like there's this weird like bunny girl character in the trailer that looks like something straight out of like Donnie Darko. Like honestly, if you've seen Donnie Darko, there's like that creepy fucking bunny person, and there's like a bunny girl in this trailer that is just bizarre to look at. It's actually unsettling to look at it. I don't know if you guys have seen this one, what I'm referring to.
Is it supposed to be unsettling, or is it supposed to be like cute and it just looks odd?
Here she is happily kicking her feet on a bed eating carrots, and I'm telling you, I will have nightmares at some point in the next 2 weeks because of this character. And she's just like, I don't know. You have to look it up. I guess it's really not. Doesn't look too good. But
I had considered putting this on my list, like trying to figure out what I want to put on it, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Were you deterred by the bunny girl?
I don't know if it was the bunny girl in particular, because I don't really remember much about her, but it kind of tickles the memory. But I was trying to go through my picks very quickly, so I didn't really take a chance to absorb all the information, and I'm kind of glad I didn't.
All right, well, let's see what the Resident Breakfast Food says.
So it's a bunch of girls with boobs hanging out. I'm not sure if that's a girl now. Nope, that's not a girl. That's the Peach Boy. And he's hanging out with a whole lot of plot.
So,
yeah.
Plot is her polite way of saying anime is just about girls with big tits. So,
yep.
And that's certainly what this anime looks like. Everyone in it is very busty. So that's Peach Boy Riverside, my first selection from the summer season.
Excellent.
Let's just work left to right. So Mason's next. So
did somebody say busty? Man, do I have an anime for you, my friend?
Yeah.
My first pick, and boy, am I excited for it, is Megamiro no Robyo-kun, aka Mother of the Goddess's Dormitory. Tells the story of a 12-year-old named Nagumi who is abandoned by his father after their house catches on fire, left to roam the streets until a girl named Minerva finds him and takes him to a women's college dormitory, which has troublesome residents, and asks him, this 12-year-old boy who is homeless, to be their quote-unquote dorm mother. So he's now surrounded by all these older women with their unique personalities and strange proclivities, and he starts his new life of being in an ecchi show. This is done by Studio Azred, which did like Mirai Nikki, Corpse Party, Arifureta, and it's based on the manga. So,
great, real examples.
Exactly. This looks really bad. Obviously, it's just like a self-insert for any like almost teenage boy, and it's not going to break any new ground. But even from that aspect, like this looks as bland as they come, even in the ecchi genre. Like the PV offered like a glimpse into like the character designs with this like wacky zany music for comedy moments as he falls face first into every crevice of their bodies. it just has like a really poor aesthetic sense, and it just has really generic fan service to boot. It wasn't even like off the walls, like why are you here, Sensei? Like it just looks so bland that I'm really excited for this one, which is once again Mother of the Goddess's Dormitory, and we can move right along.
Okay,
I mean,
so
this is probably going
Oh,
to be
sorry,
like the number one ecchi show of the season, and I think it's absolutely impossible for them. Man, the pink-haired girl character is, and she is sexed up to the nines. I don't know how they could possibly do better than that. It's pretty ridiculous. Man, they'll literally, this anime will literally be successful off of this one promo photo alone. Without a doubt. I'm gonna post it on
Yeah,
Twitch for people.
pretty much. I mean, go for it. Like, there's other shows on my list that I'm not like too like into that style or genre, but at least they have something going for it. This is devoid of like anything that pulls me in, so they'll probably be really beloved by the community, knowing my my inability to judge taste.
well, so my first, or rather, in last place, is a pick from my number 13, so it's pretty far down. It's called Nighthead 2041. This is from a studio called Shirogumi, which I haven't really heard much about, but if that means something to you, please let me know. And basically, the story follows the Kirihara brothers, who from a young age were incarcerated in a secure scientific facility due to supernatural powers, and having escaped after the barrier that was preventing them malfunctioned. So now they're out in the world. The story also follows the Kuroki brothers, who are trying to chase the Kirihara brothers. So there's two pairs of brothers, cat and mouse, you know the deal. So from that plot, it seems like it doesn't really tell you a lot, but I guess it seemed okay. The trailer did not really reveal a lot about that plot, and while the backgrounds look nice, the animation looks like it's CGI. So, and the mouth flaps are looking a little problematic. So, I am not sure if this is going to look good, and I'm not sure what the plot is going to be like. Again, it's one of my last picks, so we are just going to see how this goes.
The last picks are kind of like, I honestly get to like the sixth show, and then I just fill in the gap with whatever looks tolerable. But sometimes the
Yeah.
ones at the bottom end up being really good. So, all right.
Yeah, I basically made like 10 picks, and after that, I just kind of gave up and just filled in the blanks with anything, really.
I finally posted the picture from that last one Mason was talking about, and honestly, it's like the whole anime is just this girl, pretty much. I mean, look at the fucking picture. It's ridiculous.
They put all that anime money into her boobs.
Everything about the photo, it's fucking ridiculous. So this next show I have, speaking of that, this next show I have is pretty much in that vein. I think it's the Jahi Sama wa Kuji Kenai, which I don't even know what the English translation is. There's no fucking way. I guess so. The Jahi Sama won't be discouraged is the English title. And it's about the once respected as the demon realm's second greatest authority, the demon king's aide Jahi ruled her subjects with fear. But when a magical girl attacks and destroys a mystic gem containing massive power, the demon realm is destroyed. Kind of sounds like it is the plot of like a Disgaea game. Although she survives, Jahi has lost almost all of her powers and finds herself stranded in the human world with a childlike appearance in order to gather more mystic gems so she can permanently restore both her original form and the demon realm. Jahi will have to adjust to her new life and deal with everyday problems that she has never experienced before, aka let's go look for the Shikon jewel shards in modern-day Japan, with a girl character that will be blazing hot as an adult, as a demon girl adult, but most of the time she'll be like a moe girl. Pretty much. So Mirai Minoto is the director who directed Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World. That was pretty much the last thing they did, and that wasn't really all that strong of a property, honestly. I think none of us really liked it. Studio Silverlink is the studio, and it's based on a manga. So I really couldn't find a trailer for this. I looked. I mean, the best thing I found was like someone talking about the plot line while flashing like images from the manga panels. And I don't know, it's basically a moe cute girl that can transform into a hot demon babe. So I don't know. It'll probably have a ton of people watching it, but I feel like it's going to be I feel like people will end up complaining about the subject matter of this one because ultimately she will transform from time to time and you're going to be like, wow, this anime chick's hot, and then she's going to go back to being like a 4-year-old, and it's going to be really odd having like that dichotomy between, it's like, I don't know, it's like people will end up lusting over a super young moe looking girl and some people are going to be really weirded out by that. So but that's about it. Jahi-sama, it will not be discouraged, and personally I think it'll be one of the more watched shows of the season. So Caroline, or I guess Mason's up.
Yeah, it'll be really popular. By the way, I know it's not a big deal, but I think you and I are frozen on video, and Caroline's the only one moving along right now. So
Yay!
I don't
That's
know if
weird.
we broke it when we put those massive 2 lumps of plot on the screen, but
That's really odd that only one of our images, I'll refresh them, but let me just say that neither of us is making a weird face or anything in the pictures.
thank
No, you guys look great.
goodness.
You're actually like looking in the same direction too, which is weird.
We're both looking at the chat like, what is this person about to type?
I will try to fix it.
No worries, no worries. My next pick, my number 6, not actually my number 6, but the 6 in this order, is Kanajo Mo Kanajo, or Girlfriend.
Oh my god.
Hey, we're back, baby.
Ooh.
What kind of a fucking title is that?
You like harems, my guy? You like harems? You like the next Rent-A-Girlfriend? Anyway, so this is Naoya Mukai has loved, ready for this name? Are you ready for it?
I'm
Saki
I'm
Saki.
ready. Ah!
Since grade school.
What the fuck?
And when she finally accepts his feelings, he is thrilled. But one day, another cute girl named Nagisa Minase confesses to him. Not wishing to choose one over another, Naoya chooses to go out with both of them. Yep,
This is basically love and lies right there.
this is, yeah, it's the Matezuka Productions, hot off the heels of doing Adachi Toshimamura, the quintessential quintuplets,
Oh my
season
God.
1, both of which are directed by the same person as Kanajo Mo Kanajo, Satoshi Kuwabara. So this is based on the manga. The PV didn't show too much, but it had the same like bright color palette and effects that did remind me of Rent-A-Girlfriend without as good of character designs. This will be the show where everyone's like, oh, who's the best girl, and wage war, whatever. This show has me ever so slightly more interested than the previous one because of the absolutely killer voice cast. From Ayana Sakura to Azumi Wakai, who's doing like 20 shows this season. I think if this show, Kanajo Mo Kanajo, is going to succeed, it's going to be from like the waifu bait and like the captivating energy in the voice actors, because I think just in the PV they sounded like they were having a blast and really going wild with the deliveries, and if that carries through to the show, it might offer something fun, almost like Aho Girl, where it's so stupid but everyone was so like committed to going balls to the wall that it was a ton of fun. So maybe there'll be something there in that to make it fun, but they're a little skeptical. Nonetheless, we were running out of shows, and I picked this one, and we'll see what happens from it. You never know. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Maybe it'll be
Maybe.
so wholesome and not at all taking
Yeah.
advantage of
You know,
female characters.
Sometimes you
Maybe.
gotta go through the weeds to find some winners. So.
I mean, this is what happens when you both fight over the same shows ultimately, and then you end up both going like 15 deep on your list to get like the rest of these.
Listen,
Just saying.
Even if we weren't picking the same shows, it's still there's not that much objectively good stuff here.
This is a good season to go through your backlog and get your plan to watch cleaned up a little bit. Hey,
I
not
mean,
to say we're gonna
after-
discount everything, but we'll see.
I just think you
After
guys
the
need
last
to.
couple seasons, we were having a very hard time picking our, top choices for reviews. At least now we will have a very clear decision made. Like, okay, this is definitely not good enough for review.
I mean, you guys just need to be terrible at picking shows like I am, because then you'd have a whole bunch of shit on your. See, if you would stop doing so much research beforehand, You would not know what the good shows are, and then you would just pick whatever, like I don't give a fuck, and then you'd end up with all the stuff you picked. It would still not be good, but you'd get all your picks. So if you would suck at it like me and just haphazardly just do whatever.
But now I have an excuse. I watched a terrible show, and they're like, Mason, how do you possibly pick this show? And I'm like, well, it wasn't my choice. We were running out. Like, I have that like backup trump card. Whereas this was all you, baby. There's no hiding from it. I'm a coward. I need walls to cower behind.
I mean,
And
I'll
besides,
own
while
it.
you may got your like top favorite picks, what if they could still be crap and you'd still be stuck with picks that you probably would have found some better ones if you'd done a little more research.
Well, we will
Jeez.
find out.
Harsh.
Okay, so number 12 on my list, 2nd up.
Number
It's
12.
called Battle in 5 Seconds After Meeting. So this is going to be your death battle game of the season. Well,
Oh.
actually, I think there's another one on my list too. But okay, so we got this guy named Akira Shiroyanagi has been suddenly dragged into a battlefield by a mysterious girl who calls herself Mion. The participants are told that they are erased from the family register, involved in an experiment, and gain certain powers. They are basically told their backstory. So Akira is determined to win the game with his newfound powers and destroy organization, armed with a power no one expects. We don't know what that power is. And his quote-unquote brain skills. I don't know what that means.
What?
I don't know. The new period of intelligence battle begins. Isn't that exciting?
Sounds fucking dreadful. I'm not gonna lie.
They really
That's
call
why
it
it's
brain
number 2.
skills?
I don't
Brain
know
skills.
what this means.
Not like
Quote-unquote
intellect
brain.
or ability to think. Brain
Well,
skills.
Nope. That's too easy, Mason.
Sounds like someone like forgot the word and they were just like stumbling and
Brain
went with
skills.
that.
Question
The
mark?
thing you do with the thing of matter in your head. What do you call it when you're doing something with that? Brain skills. Yes, exactly.
The thing. You're doing the thing.
Yeah, it's just honestly, had it not been for the fact that Nighthead 2041 basically gave me nothing to work with, so I have no idea what it's going to be about, and at least I know what this one is generally going to be like, that's what put it just one spot ahead. So, I don't know, sometimes I like the whole Battle Royale thing, so we'll see what happens with that. That's basically what I'm going to say about every single one of my choices.
All right. Well, next up on my list is, let's see, my 6th choice. Wow, look at that. So Caroline's all the way buried down at 12. I'm all the way up at 6. It's pretty
Look
good
at
stuff.
you. Ooh.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. It doesn't mean this will be any good. It's Genjitsu Shugi Yusha no Okoku Sai Kenki, which is, in English, you can tell this is an isekai just based off how long the title is. So, how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom is the translation in English. When Kazuya Soma is unexpectedly transported to another world,
Toto? I have a feeling we're not in Kansas
he knows the people expect a hero, but Soma's idea of heroism is more practical than most. He wants to rebuild the flagging economy of the new land he's found himself in. Betrothed to the princess and abruptly planted on the throne, this realist hero must gather talented people to help him get the country back on its feet, not through war or adventure, but with administrative reform.
Sounds like slime anime.
I sure hope not. Directed by Takashi Watanabe, who's directed a lot of stuff, probably most notably Ikito-sen and Shakugan no Shana. JC Staff is the studio, and it's based on a light novel. So, I mean, it sounds boring, honestly. To me, oh man. I mean, I don't know. It might be refreshing to have an isekai show that's not just about like that's not just a power fantasy where the guy runs around and has like all kinds of like hot chicks with him and just is super overpowered. You're
acting as if that's not a possibility here too.
But, I mean, maybe it will be, but that's not what the plot synopsis sounded like, So it sounds to me like an office worker gets transported and he's just gonna like I mean, he's literally said I'm watching the trailer, and he's like, "We need to review all the national finance expenditures and get a clear picture on where we're wasting money, and raise funds to satisfy the empire's demands." So I don't know. They're gonna like run the fucking country. I have no idea. It's probably gonna end up being like just a fighting anime anyway. But yeah. But it looks okay. I mean, I don't know. It's an isekai show. I seem to pick a lot of these, and I like about half of them. So we will have to see. And this is what Pancake said.
How did you become king of this kingdom? You were probably a virgin in your past life before you got hit by Truck Coon. And all of the gods felt bad for you, so they gave you a kingdom and a ton of fucking pussy.
That's
oh,
it.
God.
That's what she said.
You know, I feel like she should have like her thoughts for every anime because that's very funny.
Oh, you liked that? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah,
what
I
these
love her
fucking shows
thoughts.
are. So, anyway, that's how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom, 2021. I end up watching all these fucking isekai shows. I don't even try. I just end up picking them. It must be like they must be using a certain kind of like promo art that catches my eye or something. Because this is not the last isekai on my list. So
Big boobs? Is that it? It wasn't the big.
I don't even think it was big boobs. I mean, I'll have to look this one up and just see what the promo art just looks like. It's just a bunch of fucking face shots. Doesn't even have boobs in the promo. I don't know. I just don't know. Anyway,
Amazing.
next up.
Next up, my next pick is Kageki Shoujo, or Opera Girl, at the Musical Drama Academy. It's a high school that teaches musical theater, and it splits up its actresses into those who play male roles and those who play female roles. One of our characters, Ai Narata, is a former idol who becomes an actress of a female role where she meets Sarasa Watanabe, just a simple farm girl who is an actress of male roles, and they probably perform shows and maybe have a romance. Who knows? I don't know too much going in. It's done by Studio Pine Jam, who did Gleipnir, Just Because, and Gamers. It's based on the manga, and overall, you know, despite what we might have said about Gleipnir, I like the look of Pine Jam shows, and I think if you listen to the after party, you know that I have to pick this just because the promotional image was very grabbing, had some cool color schemes to it, and just had a look to it that I wanted to see more of. The PV didn't show much besides some shots from the show, but I got a general feel for how it'll move and stuff, and it's kind of what I expected. So it's directed by Kazuhiro Yoneda, who did Hozuki no Reitetsu Season 2 and Kabuki-Boo. Sorry, messed it up. And while I haven't seen that one, like, both of those shows are very much couched and, like, inspired by theatrical performances. So I'm hoping that his eye for that kind of carries over into this show. And, I mean, Mars Dread from this season has also been kind of inspired by stage plays. So there might be something there that I'm interested in. So, Mitz, you'll probably want to avoid it because the main girl has two-tone hair. As for me, I'm going in pretty neutral. I hope it looks good. I hope it is an interesting dynamic, and we will see what happens. But that is Opera Girl, Kageki Shoujo.
The heterochromia and the stupid like symbols in someone's eyes instead of a pupil and like multicolored hair is just becoming like really common in anime. So there's no escaping it.
This is us now.
I just have to like not be so old in my brain and just deal with it. So, okay, Caroline.
All right. My number 3 pick is my number 6 on my overall list. So we've jumped up quite a bit. We like skipped 6 places or something like that. So we're now into the spot on my list where I actually said like, okay, maybe this will be good. So on this spot, I have Uramichi Onisan, which is about a 31-year-old guy named Omota Uramichi, who is the gymnastics coach in a children's educational TV program called Together with Mama, which is a very weird title for a show. But yeah, basically, I don't know, like Sesame Street or Blue's Clues, something like that. He might be sweet on the outside, but all the boys and girls are inevitably scared off whenever they get a glimpse of the adult darkness that is the result of Uramichi-sensei's emotional instability. This is a tragic eulogy to all the boys and girls who are now adults. So we are just following this children's show where basically all the adults are just like in loneliness, despair, and just experiencing the worst that adulthood has to offer. So I don't know if they're meant to be relatable or actually like creepy adults. I don't know because the trailer didn't really give me too much to work with, but it's an interesting looking trailer. It could be really funny in a very relatable kind of way. It could also be very creepy because honestly, I find a 31-year-old man in a children's TV program as a gym teacher is kind of weird. But
It sounds like
we shall see.
an unstable 31-year-old man. That's what it sounded like.
True, yes.
I was like, whoa, wait a second.
It looks
Maybe
like
this-
but it looks like it's not just him, but it's like a lot of the adults on this show are a little bit unstable. But there's this one in the trailer. There's this one character in a bear mascot suit, and it's honestly pretty funny because looking at it, it kind of looks like this bear is is like the opposite of the gym teacher. Like he gets a little bit afraid of him. So it's just this guy in a bear suit that I am instantly gravitating towards. So
Show
we will
me
see what happens.
where on the bear costume
I need to stop
he
saying
touched
that.
you.
I say that every time.
Anyway,
No.
sorry,
Is
that's
the bear more or less hideous than the Gleipnir bear?
I can't be worse.
It's like it kind of looks like an animatronic, like something you used to get Chuck E. Cheese or something.
That's the
It's
Gleipnir
just like
bear.
a pink bear suit.
All right, I'm
It's not
investigating the bear.
an actual bear. Don't
I'm
worry.
investigating.
It's a guy who's in a bear suit. He's not
Ma-
a bear.
Mason's on the case. All
On
right,
the
so
case.
the next pick here from me is a show called Vanitas no Cart, and I don't know if this has an English title or not. They do at this point usually. The Case Study of Vanitas. So that's what it stands for. There once lived a vampire known as Vanitas, hated by his own kind for being born under a blue full moon, as most arise on the night of a crimson moon. Afraid and alone, he created the quote, Book of Vanitas, a cursed grimoire that would one day take his vengeance on all vampires. This is how the story goes. Vanitas no Cart follows Noe, a young man traveling abroad an airship in the 19th century Paris with one goal in mind, to find the Book of Vanitas. So it's a vampire show about vampires about a vampire who hates vampires and wants to kill them, I guess. Directed by Tomoyuki Itamura of, well, really half of the Monogatari series, honestly. And done by Studio Bones. So there are reasons why this is appealing. So Bones and, of course, the director of Monogatari, which is really well liked. So it's based on a manga and created by Jun Mochizuki, who did Pandora Hearts. So it's got some decent pedigree to it. I watched the trailer a few times. It looks very shiny. Bones is usually really good, so the appearance of it in general looks really good. There's some pretty dark imagery in the trailer, and we'll see.
They just did Skate, and they killed it. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Skate looked good. Didn't make much sense, but
It looked good.
so it looks cool. I'm not really into that into vampire anime all that much because they just don't normally end up being good, in my opinion. They half the time they're about little girl vampires and shit, and I'm much more into the horror aspect of vampires, I guess. But it looks like it's got some action, and it's a Bones anime. So, but let's see, what did Pancake say?
I mean, it doesn't look terrible. They're vampires, right? Is that what's happening? Vampires with books? I don't get it. Do you get it?
Do you guys get it? I don't know.
I don't
So-
get it.
So that's Vanitas no Cart, the case study of Vanitas. That's my number 4 show. So what's next, guys?
More importantly than my number 4 show, I checked out The Bear from Uramichi Onisan. It looks completely different than an animatronics Gleipnir bear. It's more like a fuzzy, costume you'd get into if you were having your, I don't know, 4-year-old birthday party and your uncle just dressed up in it and drove in his car with it. So, but also, yeah, not the cutest thing ever. So, anyway, my number 4 pick, number 4 in quotes, is D Side Traumary. I'm just gonna leave it at that. It's a D_side, all capitalized, and then it's who knows. Anyway, as
Who
a
cares?
child, Ryuhei looked up to his older brother, but watched him perish one night in a mysterious incident. Now a high schooler, he shows no outward signs of the trauma and spends most of his leisure time kickboxing. One day, he encounters a creature that calls itself Triss and is bitten by it, resulting in him having a strange dream. Okay. All right
Awesome.
so
Okay.
far. I'm following it. It's done by Studio Sansa again, who did Bang Dream, Sakura Wars, and the actually admittedly very excellent D4 DJ. The DJ idol show. But anyway, watching the PV, this is a very CG heavy action fantasy idol, like astral chain looking. I don't even know what's going on kind of thing. I'm guessing it will be an unfortunate pairing of just too many design sensibilities with like weird ideas blended in to make an ugly smoothie that will be like distinctly anime in all its flaws. Like it looks better than Handshakers or X-Arm, but I'm expecting a very similar show to that one. So
It's
wish
not
me
high
luck.
art.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
There's just too much effects going on in the trailer, and
Wow.
I just have no idea what they're trying to pull. But D-side Traumere is what I'm going to call it until someone corrects me. So please, I don't know. But there you go. That's the show.
I mean, honestly, that's
Ganbate.
like one of the worst titles I've ever seen for an anime. So, all right, Caroline.
Okay, so what number am I on? I guess it's my number 5 choice. It's Tante wa mo shinderu, which is kind of a funny name.
Robot
It
Caroline
means, let me see what was
dancing
the
over here.
translation. It was like yeah, I know I'm not really on Twitch right now. I don't know what's going on. But carry on, I suppose. Okay, so that translates to the detective is already dead. So basically, we're telling you the detective is already dead. By the time you start the show. So, easy. So it's this character. Basically. So we got Kimizuka Kimihiko, which is a very annoying name. Has bad luck and constantly finds trouble. But while on a plane, an emergency happens, and for some reason they need a detective. He then meets this girl with silver hair who goes by the codename Siesta. Another bad name. Who apparently is a detective. She then takes Kimizuka as her assistant. And then it gets into basically spoiler territory. I don't know if they're going to go through this in the first episode or something, but they talk about, they took down criminal organizations, prevented disasters, and saved thousands. But then everything ended with Siesta's untimely death 3 years later. And now somehow this kid is still in high school. Like Kimizuka resolves to have a normal high school life after all this happened, saved thousands 3 years later, detective's dead. But then he meets a girl with an uncanny resemblance to Siesta. So I don't know. It kind of looks interesting. I kind of like the whole you know how it ends approach, and so you'll find the way to the end. So might be good. I don't really know much about it. What's the studio? It's Engi, Engi. I don't know much about that studio. So
Studio
Yeah.
Engi.
Engi, yeah. So I don't know. Oh, it could be good, but I really don't know.
All right, my next pick is Scarlet Nexus, which is a show that already started, and it already has sort of very lackluster first impressions on the internet, I would say. So take that for what you will. In the solar calendar of 2020, grotesque organisms called Others have begun eating people. To take down this new enemy, the Other Suppression Force is formed. Saved by this elite team as a child, psychokinetic Yuito withstands the training to enlist, but on the other hand, prodigy Kasane was scouted for her abilities. But Kasane's dreams tell her strange things, dragging the two into an unavoidable fate. Directed by Hiroyuki Nishimura, who has done pretty much nothing. Produced by Sunrise Studio, and it's based on a video game. So, I watched the trailer. The trailer seems fine. It looks like a sci-fi action show. And they've got like sort of what would you like? Would you the Matrix style, like people hanging out of pipes? I think this is the right. I think I've got this trailer right, and it looks fairly interesting, but I do see some CG in the trailer, but we'll see. I don't know. It just looks like kind of a generic action show, but the fact that it's based on a video game doesn't really give me a whole lot of happy feelings, because that usually means that it's not going to be that good. But Pancake says
Scarlet. Okay, they're Scarlet Guardians. All right. Link your minds, unlock your future.
gay. So,
Okay.
I don't know. Scarlet Nexus, it already has under a 7 on Mal, so I mean, people already don't like it. So, next,
That's promising.
Next up, are we gonna start getting into good shows?
I hope.
Probably
this
not.
point, we're
Probably
already on
not.
our number
Probably not yet. My number 3 pick is Bokutachi no Remake, which is essentially real life plus Tokyo Revengers plus new game. Hashiba Kyoya is a 28-year-old game developer, and with his company going bankrupt and him losing his job, he returns to his hometown. Looking at other creators his own age, he finds himself regretting his life decisions. And one night, when he's laying distressed up, thinking about his life's mistakes, he falls asleep, and when he opens his eyes, he finds out that he has traveled 10 years back in time to before he entered college, so now he can relive all those mistakes he was worried about.
Oh my god, it's like the most bro anime ever.
It's one of those.
Isn't this real life?
Yep. It's
I get
just
to
go back in time and learn about. Go ahead.
Yeah, I get to pass out on your yard again, bro, and puke all over again, man. Oh my god.
I mean, it's inherently interesting because we all have had those thoughts about if I could do it over again, what would I change, knowing what I know now? And those are always have the potential to be interesting, but I don't know if this will be one. We will find out. It is done by Studio Feel, which have made some really good shows and some really not good shows. You have My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, but they also do Dropout Idol Fruit Tart. They have Hinamatsuri, but they also have Island. They have Tsukigakure. So I have no idea what we're gonna get. This is based on a light novel, and after watching the PV, it looks like it has some pretty solid production value. I'm not looking it to do a whole lot and be impressive, but if it tells a solid tale with the time travel mechanic, I guess we'll give it a shot. I think the biggest tripping point for me right now is, while I like Ari Koga as the voice of Kaguya and Ange from Princess Principal, her delivery so far for the character she's playing in this show seems very annoying and childish, and that might drive me up the wall if she ends up being a very prevalent character, which I'm guessing she will be. So I'm hoping this is not my bad picks that came before. I'm hoping this is a safe pick, and maybe we'll get to quality with my final 2. But that's all I have for Bokutachi no Remake.
Caroline?
All right. Sorry, I just want to add a footnote to something that I talked about a long time ago, and that was the Battle Royale game, number 2 on my list. Sorry, there was another thing that I really disliked about the trailer, is that there's this cat girl in it. Awful. Hate her already. Voice annoying. Looks annoying.
You got a problem with cat girls?
I mean, if they're done not in an annoying way, but
she's
she's also
this cat girl.
This cat girl in particular is really bad. Because she also has that snide, that sly, snide, I don't know what the word is, voice to her, and then she has, it's just why are you a cat girl? I don't even know.
Because it's anime.
Sorry, that very out of the blue. Sorry about that. So my number 3 on my picks, number 4 overall, was the second season of My Next Life as a Villainess. This is the only anime this season that I have any whereabouts, that I know anything about. So I'm glad to have a familiar face on my list. I enjoyed the first season about this girl who gets isekai'd into her otome game as the villainess, and now she has a harem on both sides that all love her, but she just wants to be friends. That's all she really cares about. So it's pretty wholesome. I thought it was pretty funny. The ending for me kind of fell off the wagon a little bit, but still, I'm interested to see the second season. Am I expecting to pass it? Maybe, if it does something interesting with it that kind of makes me rethink my feelings on the first season in a good way. But yeah, I just want to get the one thing that I know anything about on my list and watch a little bit of it.
All right. The next show here is my other isekai show. I'm not going to play the drop again. But it is called Tsuki ga Michibiku Isekai Dochu. I don't know if there's a translation yet for this. It is Moonlit Fantasy. They're just calling it Tsuki Michi, Moonlit Fantasy. So the fantasy centers around Makoto Misumi, an ordinary high school boy summoned to an alternate world as a brave warrior. Isekai. Unfortunately, the goddess of the world said with disdain, quote, "Your face is ugly," and stripped him of his title and banished him to the outermost fringes of the wilderness. And while wandering this wilderness, he encounters dragons, spiders, orcs, dwarves, etc. Due to differences in the environment from his home world, he now exhibits extraordinary powers in magic and combat. Thus, he survives in this world while dealing with various encounters. And the curtain rises on an alternate world, social reform fantasy of a boy forsaken by gods and humans. I don't know. I mean, it sounds like another power fantasy isekai show. I'm so powerful, I can't be beaten by anything. Look at me, look at me. So directed by Shinji Ishihara, who has done a lot of stuff, most notably probably Fairy Tail and some hentai shows too, I would note. Produced by Studio C2C, who recently has done Wandering Witch, Harukana Receive, and a bunch of other stuff. It's based on a manga. Honestly, the trailer looks pretty cool. You know, it's definitely got a lot of action. It reeks of, well, I shouldn't say it reeks of slime anime, but there's an awful lot of shots of like beastmen and orcs like building structures with hammers and shit, and it just smells a little bit like that sort of a show. But I don't know. There's a lot of, it's just super fantasy. There's dragons in it and orcs and lizard men and all this other stuff. So, and on top of it all, the main character will be super, OP, I imagine. So, and then Pancake says
He's got big boobs and a dragon. That's all you need to make an anime. Oh, more big boobs. We got a whole lot of plot in this anime.
So, yeah, and that's
Is that more boobs?
Oh.
Yep. A 12-year-old boy and 3 women with large breasticles. And a dragon.
Every 12-year-old's boy's
I mean,
dream.
It could be okay.
wow, it just keeps
Boobs
going.
and dragon.
It just had a
Keep
lot of
going.
screaming.
So that's Tsuki Michi Moonlit Fantasy. So another isekai show that will probably have a ton of people watching it because it's an isekai show. Mason?
Mitsuki, I think you messed up there. What was that drop of Pancake to? Because I think that was her reaction to the show I'm about to talk about.
Oh, no.
Which is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid S.
You mean to
which
play
is
I can play the drop again if you want.
you honestly could, but you don't need to.
He's
The
got big
synopsis
boobs
is
and a
that big boobs and the dragon, literally the show.
He's got big
so this
boobs
is just
and a dragon.
There you go.
more Dragon Maid. If you haven't seen season 1, this tells the story of Miss Kobayashi, your average office worker, aka workaholic, who lives a boring life in her small apartment until one day she goes on like a drunken spree and accidentally saves the life of a dragon in distress. That dragon, named Toru, has the ability to transform into a human and decides to pay off her debts to Miss Kobayashi by becoming her maid. Hence, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's in the title, people.
Oh my
Come on,
God,
get with the
now it
program.
makes sense.
We're
it
connecting all the
now.
dots. I'm doing all the brain skills right now to figure this one out.
Yes, absolutely.
The reason why people are excited for this, besides the fact that they like season 1, is that it's done by Kyoto Animation with Violet Evergarden, Sound Euphonium, Sarune, Free, all that good stuff. This is based on the manga, and actually this one, we actually know where it's going to be streaming. It's on Crunchyroll, so I can actually say that now. So, Miss Kobayashi. This was actually a listener choice poll back like many moons ago and was reviewed on episode 373 by Kazuo and Kimiko, but no one else that's currently on the show now. So, it's been 4 years. It could qualify for another review. I personally enjoyed season 1 well enough. Like, it has that signature KyoAni like visuals and charm, but some like overly sexualized character designs and like over sexualized like situations with underage characters for the sake of quote unquote comedy, often landed on the territory between being like tasteless and being problematic. So, despite those flaws, it was still worth watching, kind of, sort of, if you're into that style of comedy. Based on the PV for season 2, it's going to be exactly the same. Both the good and the bad, it's all there. It's more Kobayashi. It's really my, I know what I'm getting, similar to Caroline's Otome game pick. Like, I know what Dragon Maid will be. It will be like a back pocket pick if nothing else even comes remotely close. But fans of the series, be excited. It looks like you'll get exactly what you came for. So there you go.
I actually have not seen Dragon Maid before.
Well, let me tell you, a source of mine tells me that it's big boobs and dragons, if I'm not mistaken. So
He's got
Wait a
big
minute,
boobs
so-
and a dragon.
The maid is not human then.
She's
No,
a dragon.
A dragon? Or
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it something else? Was it like an orc or something?
Actually, you'd think no, everyone's dragons.
What part of big boobs and a dragon did you not get?
I know, I know that's part of the equation here, but I was having a hard time adding things up, you know?
Gotcha. Don't worry, we'll develop those brain skills.
Oh my god.
So number 2 on my list, we got Heiyon's Sedai no Iraten Tachi. So I don't know, is there an English translation of that? Iraten deities in the peaceful generation. I guess that's what it translates to. So this is a story. It's been like 800 years since the battle gods called Iraten, who boast overwhelming speed and strength, contained the demons. It's very basic. But now it's like just like an old tale and a distant myth, and nobody really believes it, I guess. And while the peaceful generation of the gods, who have never fought since they were born, are out of peace. This is a really weird description. I don't even know. I was trying to figure out a way to make this make sense, but I couldn't really figure it out. Someone has revived the demons. Oh no, from the long sleep. And now a battle royale begins. Yay, another battle royale. By that description, it does not seem very put together, but the trailer seems to be pretty fun. At the very least, it has style. So I think it will be worth a try, and hopefully it will be good, and hopefully it'll make sense instead of this very, very bad description.
All right, my final pick, it was the first one on my list, is Remain, which I'm a sucker for sports anime, even though they're continually disappointing. So
I'm a sucker for colons and titles with re in it.
I know, holy shit. The story centers on Minato Kiyomizu Dera, like, okay, he's named after a temple in Kyoto.
Nice.
I guess a boy who quit playing water polo after an incident during the winter of his 3rd year of junior high school. After entering high school, he makes a promise and decides to try water polo again and joins the school's team with his friends. However, the new team is run into problems along the way. So
What problems?
I know, fucking shit.
Oh my god, is the student council gonna get them
We'll
again?
get to that here. So Masafumi Nishida is the director, who's done pretty much nothing. It's done by Studio Mappa, and it's an original. So I mean, those are your reasons to be hopeful. Mappa just do? No, that was Bones. Yeah, Mappa's a great studio. We all probably agree that they're top or second best studio out there right now. But honestly, the synopsis of this anime looks totally underwhelming. It's not really. It's a huge trope to have a kid quit a sport after having like some bad experience, and then he'll and they're gonna spend 3 episodes on his like trauma, and then he'll like overcome his trauma and join the team, and they'll all celebrate that he rejoined. And then the team has problems, which means that they're not gonna have enough players, or they're gonna be splitting the pool with like the swim team or some bullshit. So that's pretty much.
Team.
The swim team's going to go, oh, water polo is a bunch of bullshit. Anybody can do that. And then they're going to have like a match
Water pose for girls.
where they
Wah.
prove who has the more ripped abs and all this. And then, so I guess I'm tentatively excited, but I expect nothing, honestly. And let's see what Pancake
That's
says.
your number 1 pick,
This
man.
might be the only anime that you have on your list that's worth even trying. And it's about fucking water polo and abs.
Hey, water polo is cool, man. I'm excited. I think we've talked about like sports we want to see in an anime, and I think I've brought up water polo before, so I'm excited.
It's just, I don't know. It's just a bummer when it's an original show, which means they can do anything they want with it, and the plot synopsis itself has like 4 tropes in it. It's just a little, a little disappointing, but that's it. Remain is my top, and I'm sure the title is there's no translation. It's called Remain. So, all right.
Well, like you, Mitz, my top selection has an English title and is in an original, but this is actually going to be anime of the season without question. That is Sunny Boy. It's a sci-fi survival series where a classroom of students are uprooted from their middle school lives and end up in another dimension and have to fight to survive. There's actually an advanced release of episode 1 that came out recently, but I purposely have not watched it yet because I don't need to. The promotional video has provided to me enough style and intrigue and a character named Nozomi where I'm all in. I'm completely in. This is Studio Madhouse. They did No Guns Life, Cherry Afro, and Boogie Pop recently. It's going to be streaming on Funimation where you can actually watch episode 1 now. And I picked the show months ago based on the promotional images. It's done by One Punch Man and Aka 13 director Shingo Natsume, and the fact that, like I said, it's an original work. I'm just all in. And I feel like this is a show that's going to be best experienced going in blind, and I'm so hyped to dive in. I have almost a taste of Wonder Egg Priority with what I've seen of the show, so yeah, Sunny Boy, the show of the season. I'm excited.
Madhouse is my favorite studio outside of Ghibli, and it's the plot synopsis sounds like something that they'll be able to do something good with. So
Yeah, and I know that that was Mitsuki and mine too. So if we had not shown you mercy, we would have taken this show from
Yeah, you guys were
Mason.
kind enough
But,
to hear me in the after party being like, I really want it, guys. Please, can I have it? And you're like, fine, I'll put it at number 2 just to humor you, Mason. And I am thankful eternally.
Yeah, because I did watch the trailer. I'm like, holy shit, this looks like Perfect Blue. So yeah, instantly interested in that. So I might watch a few episodes before we do the review as well.
Yeah, buddy.
So, yeah, buddy. So let's get to my number 1 pick, which is Shiroi Suna no Aquatope, and that translates to Aquatope of White Sand. So this is about a girl, 18-year-old high school girl named Kukuru Misakino, very interesting name, working in an aquarium who meets this other girl, Fuka Miyazawa, who is a former idol.
Fukayu.
Yeah, so she spends her day in the aquarium with her own thoughts in mind. The crisis of closing for the aquarium as the girls explore their dreams and reality, loneliness and friends, bonds and conflicts. So automatically you can say like this show looks really good. PA works and yeah, it looks really great. And it seems like it's going to be one of those kind of thoughtful shows, like exploring like, you know, the feelings of the characters, like, and also a lot of metaphors. It looks like you see in the trailer, you see like themselves within the aquarium itself, like not actually swimming in it, but like imagining they are in the aquarium. So I think this will be a pretty decent watch. Of my shows, this seems like the most promising. So that's why I put it at my number 1. And also it's an original, so we'll see how it goes. Damn, I said it again. I said I wasn't going to say let's see how it goes again, but I said it again.
Bonsai.
Oh man, we did it. That's all of them. So
Yeah.
the top picks
That's for
were Remain, Sunny Boy, and Shiroi Suna no Aquatrope, and yeah, we'll see. You know, we often think, oh, the season's gonna suck, and then we have had seasons before that look like that, and then afterwards we're thinking, you know what, that was pretty good after all. So we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we're coming in purposely lowering the bar, so we're pleasantly surprised.
It's
Yeah,
fantasy
well,
heavy, you know.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said this might be a good season for a retro review, so maybe.
All right. So, who has... Caroline, you have the in-show trivia question.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling down because you have all your notes in the middle of our...
Yes, I'm an overachiever.
Yes. So we have our weekly trivia question. Please type your answer in our Twitch chat and we will get some admiration from all of us here. In ReZero, what types of animals are the 3 great demon beasts? And just let us know. We will reveal the answer later in a little bit.
Hey, Anime Addicts, Mitsugi is here bringing you your anime news break and getting us started off with probably the biggest news story of the week. Tanya the Evil is getting a second season of its anime property. It was announced on Abema TV that the second season would be happening, and it also revealed some teasers and some pictures for the promo, etc. Yojo Senki, or Tanya the Evil as it is known in English, adapts Carlos Zen's military-themed action fantasy light novel series that began around 2011 in a 12-episode anime done by Studio Nut, aired in the winter of 2017. And Tanya the Evil was also included in some pretty funny spin-off comedy anime as well. And now there is a second season coming sometime here in the future. So if you're a fan of Tanya the Evil, look out. There's more of this coming just around the corner. Next up, pivoting to some Superman news, which I don't think we've ever talked about before. Superman is set to star in an upcoming gourmet food manga series. That's right, it is going to be titled Superman vs. Food, Superman's Meals of Solitude, or Superman vs. Meishi, Superman no Hotori Meishi, written by Satoshi Miyakawa with the art by Kai Kitago. It's going to be a manga published in the manga magazine Evening and website Comic Days. So it looks like Superman's going to be tackling all sorts of wild food from around Japan. So if you're a fan of the Man of Steel, watch him as he flies around Japan and samples its various regional cuisines. Of course, faster than your normal character, except Goku, of course, because we all know that Goku would take Superman quite easily. Next up in the news, around 68% of people in Japan are concerned about a rebound in COVID cases if the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics happen as they are planned here in Tokyo, coming up in just about a month or so. There were 2 nationwide surveys conducted this past Saturday that 43% of people believe the summer games should be held without spectators, and around 31% think they should be canceled outright. The results sort of show that the public in Japan has major doubts about holding the global event during the pandemic. Also, the results of the survey speak to the fact that the general public believes that the Japanese government's rollout of the vaccine has just simply been too slow. Finally, when asked if the Olympics should continue, should a new state of emergency be declared in Tokyo, 56% believe that they should continue with the events but have spectators barred, while 35% believe that they should be canceled at that point, which is quite a larger increase from the prior result of the poll. So people in Japan very worried about COVID-19, as we see in the results of the survey. And lastly, the manga Isekai Oji-san is receiving a TV anime adaptation. 17 years ago, Takafumi's uncle fell into a coma, but now he's back like a man risen from the grave. Soon Takafumi discovers 2 bizarre things. His uncle treasures video games above all else, and while comatose, he was actually transported to another world as some heroic guardian. And now, not only does Takafumi have to room with an uncle who is literally magical, he also has to catch the guy up on 2 decades of history, including anime tropes, smartphones, high-speed internet, and so much more. So if you're a fan of Isekai Oji-san, that has a cumulative 1.5 million copies in circulation, look out for the anime adaptation that's going to be coming out sometime shortly in the future. This was Mitsugi, and this was your anime news break, and now time to get back to the podcast. Hey, Anime Addicts, wait, don't skip this promo. I have a joke for you. What does My Hero Academia, Joseph Joestar's penis, and a bowl of ramen have in common? You have to listen to this whole show to find out, and you won't truly understand the meaning of the joke unless you support us over at aapodcast.com/join or Patreon. Remember, I love you, and if that's not enough of a reason to support us over at aapodcast.com/join or Patreon, you can rub my shiny, Krillin-like bald head. Yes, I'm whoring myself, and we might also talk about Joseph Joestar's penis. Now, on with the show. Welcome back to the podcast. What types of animals are the three great demon beasts of ReZero? There is the white whale, the rabbits from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and the serpent, which is not in the current season. So, that's about it. So, given that we're running really long, do you guys want to? We could either skip the mailbags or skip straight to the review. I kind of lean on skipping straight to the review personally.
Yeah, we're good with that.
Since we're running like super long, and you know, it just seems like an awful. Unless you guys want to do a 3-hour podcast, which seems a little excessive.
Nah, I got Chinese food waiting for me.
Oh fuck!
I'm always game for talking for 25 hours, but I know you guys got things to do with your lives.
So we're gonna skip right to the review of ReZero, I guess. I think we knew that last segment was gonna be pretty long. It always is. So ReZero, Starting Life at Another World, Part 2, Season 2, Part 2, which is it's an isekai show with a very long title. What can I say? And this show's been airing for quite a while. I mean, yes, it was a winter 2021 anime, but there was the first season came out in the summer of 2020, and then the original season of ReZero came out way back in the spring of 2016. So there's quite a big gap in time between seasons 1 and 2, and then the last 2 seasons came out pretty much right back to back. And it's this was a listener choice anime. It's watchable on Crunchyroll or Verve. And I don't think we were going to cover this, honestly, but ultimately ReZero is the #1 watched anime every season it comes out. And so there was really no chance we weren't going to watch it. It's done by Studio White Fox, directed by Masaharu Watanabe, and it's based on a light novel, so which is, kind of the standard source material for a lot of isekai shows, it seems like. And in this one, the original ReZero's plotline is enormous. There's no fucking chance I can even remotely begin to tell you what this anime is about in the synopsis, but it's about a kid named Subaru who leaves a convenience store and he gets truck-cooned. And,
we have no idea, actually. I think he just wakes up.
Does he get just spirited away out of nowhere?
Yeah, it's like he's on a sidewalk and then suddenly he's in this other world, and I still don't know why.
It's basically this fantasy world full of conflicts, but whenever Subaru gets killed, he goes back to where. Well, initially he goes back to the first point in time that he arrived in the world, but then when certain key checkpoints sort of are met in the story, he ends up, when he dies, he goes back to the most significant sort of checkpoint. So he's on the 3rd checkpoint now or something. And so when he dies, he doesn't go clear back to the beginning. He goes back to, 5 or 6 episodes ago or whatever. So, but this season is really about it's the wrap up of the Sanctuary arc of ReZero, and which was also what they were covering in the first part of the season. So really, season 2's entirety is about the Sanctuary. Now, given that, and I'm particularly interested in because Caroline just basically binged this whole thing, I think. So,
yeah.
Caroline, what were you expecting going into the second half of the season?
Well, I mean, I very much enjoyed ReZero leading up to this. I talked about it, my thoughts before season 2, part 2 last week. So I was hoping we would get a little bit more answers, because a lot of the first season and season 2, part 1 left you with a lot of questions, didn't really answer a lot of them. And so I was thinking okay, maybe this is the point. We've gotten pretty far enough. Will we know more about the witches and why Subaru was like this? Take that as you will. And kind of understand Amelia a little bit more. And of course, where's Rem? As you know. So I was expecting to get more into that. And generally more ReZero. Didn't really think it was going to stray away from the usual for that.
Mason, how about you?
Yeah, so this is really a split core season. It felt like, this really does deserve to be watched at the same time as season 2, part 1, because it is one long cohesive piece. And a lot of my gripes with part 1 of this season was that nothing really progressed. We started an arc, we didn't even finish it, and it felt like we were just plodding along, and without having solutions to that, it made season 2 part 1 feel kind of unsatisfying. So kind of my thoughts on part 1 and this will kind of rely on how well it answers all those questions and like passes the baton to finish the race. So my expectations were that this part 2 had a lot on its shoulders to carry not only its review but the review prior. So a lot was riding on it.
For me, ReZero is a continually strong anime property. It is an isekai show, but I just feel like the writing is a lot better than most. So I mean, I expected it to be strong again, just like before. I think that ReZero is probably top of the isekai genre right now, and has been since 2016 pretty much. So I expected it to be more strong stuff going forward. Now, that being said, Caroline, would you recommend this to people? Let's say people want to see, well, I should say, who would you recommend it to if you were to recommend it?
Generally, I would recommend ReZero to pretty much anyone. I mean, except if you're just completely, just do not like isekai, do not want to get into fantasy, anything like that. That's basically the show, so don't worry about it if you're not into that. But if you don't mind isekai, this is probably one of the better ones. Most likely, yes. Plenty of waifus to be had, and if you have already started the show and have come up to the point of season 1 part 1 or season 2 part 1, I don't see why you wouldn't continue with the second part. I do think the second part is a bit better than the first part because it does it explains a little bit more of what you're wondering about. It doesn't explain everything, of course, but it does address a lot of things that you're interested in, or at least I was interested in. And so, yeah, I would say it's basically on par with the rest of the show.
Mason, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Caroline here. If you have not seen any of ReZero, I would say moderate recommendation. Give the show a chance. It is probably one of the most premier isekai out there in a very oversaturated market. If you watched season 1 and weren't really feeling it, I would say it's probably not worth continuing it. You've seen enough to make your stance. And if you've seen season 2 part 1 and haven't continued it, absolutely you should watch it just to get resolution to a lot of the arcs you've seen. So with that said, I think a lot of this show revolves around something will happen and you'll be like, well, why? Why did that happen? I don't get it. And they'll give you an explanation and you'll be like, I don't know if that was really a great explanation. And then later it'll be like, no, the actual explanation is that this was going on. And you're like, now I finally get it. So this show definitely relies on having the full picture to review it. And this season, part 2, gives you that full picture. So yeah, give it a shot. Watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was actually arguably the best season of ReZero. I think the show just seems to get better as it goes, which is kind of a nice thing. The season had an incredibly strong first three episodes. I mean, it was really good, and honestly, like especially the whole first half of the season, of the second half of the season, was awesome. So it's definitely just crushing it. I think we're not going to see any more ReZero for a while. As I'm looking into this right now, I believe they're on the 15th volume of the light novel, and we have, let's see, the arc. I'll have to see if we're caught up to it or not. I think we're caught up now.
I thought we're pretty close, if not caught up.
Yeah, I feel like the Sanctuary arc is pretty much, is volume 10 and on, and they say, according to the fandom website, that it's 6 volumes of the light novel. And if that's true,
how can we be so far behind and yet waited so long between season 1 and season 2?
Well, I think it's because they waited until a lot more volumes were published. So they're adapting these volumes, and if that's true, they're gonna wait. They'll probably wait again. There's too many unanswered questions at this point in the show still to for them not to make more of this series. But I think it could be a while before we have more That said, ReZero is pretty strong stuff. I mean, it's like the narrative, like the plot line is thick as fuck. Like if you go to the bathroom and don't pause it, you're lost. I mean, forget it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're looking for something that's got like a pretty strong story and has plenty of like your anime stuff in it, like, you know, the animal people, cute girls, magic, whatever, it's all in there. But the show definitely has, it's just like the production values are super, super off the chart. Like the music is great. The animation is not the best I've ever seen, but it's pretty much like up there. The characters are really great. The voice acting is good, you know, and it has a lot of just like elements of anime in it that are done just better than most other shows. So ReZero is an easy recommendation, to be honest, and it has been since the start. So it's gonna be hilarious. We're all gonna forget everything about this fucking show because it's gonna take them 3 years to make more of it probably, and then we're gonna be like, what happened? Because there's just too much going on. So anything else, guys, before we go to spoilers?
Not good.
There's actual spoilers in this review, unlike Eurocamp. So if you have not watched ReZero, do it and then come back here.
Whoa, I gotta turn the volume up in order to play a drop, don't I?
Spoilers are coming. Oh my god.
Where do we start?
Yeah, so I mean, you get a lot of
wanted to-
backstory in this season, this half of the season.
You get a backstory, and you get a flashback episode, and you get a flashback episode. Garfield, Amelia, these quad little old hag lollies. Like, everyone gets a backstory. Even the Bowel Hunter gets, like, a 2-minute backstory just because everyone needed one.
So, I do enjoy seeing the backstories, finally kind of understanding what the heck happened to Amelia in the beginning. But that's what made it that's where most of my confusion came from this season, is like, okay, so we have this backstory that takes place 400 years ago. We have this backstory that takes place 10 years ago. We have this backstory that takes place how many years ago? I have no idea. They're all kind of melding together. Where are we now? Are we in the future or are we in the past? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. Like, I was going to mention at the beginning when Mitz was like, oh, it'll take 3 years till the next season and we'll forget everything. That's absolutely the case, because I felt like it was just yesterday that we talked about part 1 of season 2. So I just jumped into the show, and then I'm like, oh yeah, they're juggling so many balls right now that if you are not like intimately familiar with like the sanctuary, the witches, the trial, the rabbit hordes, and like all the evolving plot lines, like if you don't know Garfield, Roswell, Beatrice, Ram, like all of them like intimately, like you need to kind of refresh yourself, because this show is so dense and interwoven with like lore and moving pieces that, well, it's not hard to follow like plot wise. Like if you miss a moment, like Mitt said, if you go to the bathroom or like you just lapse in attention for a bit, like you will be scratching your head like, wait, why did this entire thing just happen? And the show has a good clip to it, so it's hard to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, despite how much I did like this season or this part of the season, I do not really like the sanctuary itself, because it is a little bit strange how you do not really see anyone from the sanctuary except for Garfield and Ryuzu. And like you're getting this feeling, okay, the sanctuary is like this whole town that has been in this little bubble for 400 years. You would assume a lot of characters to go through. With their own like little ecosystem, economics, that kind of thing, society, but you don't see any of it, and that was really weird. And then in like the final episode, you see a couple characters from the sanctuary, and it's like, wait a minute, you can't just be thrown in here. Who are you?
I mean, they were all in like they were all in part 1. Like,
I do not remember them. I watched part 1 2 weeks ago.
How do you not? I mean, part 1 is essentially just 12 episodes, 13 episodes of ReZero saying, look, we have lots of problems. Sanctuary's under attack, mansion's under attack, this person's in peril, this person's going to die, the snow's coming, the witches are compelling.
Good or evil.
Like, the sky is falling. And season 2 was literally just after 40 episodes, Subaru's like, you know what? Maybe I can actually talk to people. And he talks to them, and then they all just, for 12 episodes, band together and fight off all those threats systematically, and it's just the answer to the complex problem that season 1 presented. So yeah, all the like look into what is the sanctuary, why are the people trapped there, like that's all part 1. So I guess I didn't mind that they didn't give us a refresher.
I mean,
we're gonna be watching
just-
ReZero for the next fucking 12 years, honestly. Like, this show is caught up because I'm reading the synopsis for volume 14 out of 15 of the light novel, and Amelia is like hasn't passed the trials yet in volume 14. So volume 15, I'm guessing they're caught up now. And this fucking story has so many unfinished pieces to it. Like I actually had to, and I don't mean to jump around too much, but like just to get the point that this series is nowhere near done, and we're gonna be watching this for 10 more years, is that they still haven't wrapped up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any of like what the fuck are they called? They're like the bad guys at the beginning of season 2 that took out Rem.
The cultist?
The cultists. I mean, they haven't wrapped that shit up, and there's a whole bunch of them. And then I had to look it up, but I was like, what? The thing with Pandora, I was like, why does Pandora want to open this door?
Yeah, they never tell you what the seal is for.
I looked it up, willing to get the spoiler, and they haven't revealed it even in the books. So,
Oh my god.
so
Yeah,
I'll talk
there's
to you
a
in
lot out there.
2030.
Don't know the relationship between like Amelia, Subaru, and like Sotella. Sotella, the like witch that like brought him into the world and like gave him the power. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on. And one thing I will say about White Fox, despite maybe not loving how all their shows look, they just put in so much stuff. And obviously ReZero has a lot of stuff going on, but all of these episodes are like 30 minutes long.
Oh yeah.
Stuff happens when the OP and Edie would be. I think they only have like an OP twice. And
Yeah.
it's a good OP, but they're just like, no, we have to get to all the stuff we're trying to tell you. And I love like the title cards. I like how when the title has like reflection in it, they put a little reflection effect. Ooh, that was a nice touch. But you get your money's worth when you watch ReZero.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, I do think they talk a lot in this show, though, which only makes it more confusing. So if you didn't fully understand what they meant in one sentence, you don't understand a full concept. So
Yeah.
or at least that's how I felt when I was watching it.
But once again, not a entirely complex story. I mean, Amelia is going through trials to test her resolve to unlock the sanctuary. And you're like, okay, I get that. But then you're like, oh, why is this trial set up? Why is this sanctuary created? Why is it snowing? And like those like questions only have answers in motives, and those motives are coming from characters. So you need to understand that this person just isn't good or bad, but why they're doing the actions they are doing. And understanding the characters is crucial to understanding ReZero as a whole. And overall, I would say the characters are interesting in the show. Otto is the best boy.
Yes.
His backstory was probably my favorite, where we see his like disability and how powerful it was and how like the show represented it. Garfield, I still don't love him, but when we learn that he's like 13 or 14 years old, like it makes sense that he's kind of daft and he's the lovable but stupid like delinquent character of the crew. Like I grew to like some of the characters more this season. I don't love them all, but overall still pretty solid.
I got to go back and edit something I said earlier. So I was looking at the English translation page. So they only have so many translated volumes of this, but there's actually 27 volumes of ReZero. The 27th one hasn't come out yet. It comes out in 5 days, but they've only adapted like, probably not no more than 2/3 of this so far. And it's still running. So yeah, it isn't like they're not caught up, but there's a shitload more. So, you may still be
That's
watching it.
good to know.
You might still watch it for 10 more years. Who knows? At this point.
Okay with that.
What was your guys' favorite part of this second half of the season? Because I know the part that had me the most sucked in, but I'm kind of wondering what you guys think.
Hard to say.
Because for me, I thought that my favorite part of the season was the flashbacks with Amelia with Pandora in it. I was really engaged in that. There are a lot of exciting action scenes, a lot of intriguing visuals, and a lot of mystery surrounding like the gate and the door or whatever, and what the hell was this thing about. And Pandora was just a very unsettling character. She's obviously a villain, one of the main antagonists, but she's so calm that it's very unsettling. Like her demeanor is very just even keel. Like she'll never be. People are literally like killing her over and over again. She can't be killed, I guess, and she's just like totally chill about it. She's just very manipulative and very happy to just not lose her cool, and it's very, very almost like horror movie like. So, but that whole section was super engaging. I thought it was amazing. So, how do
I mean,
you guys have a favorite spot?
similar to that, it was the part where you realize that there's more to what's his name? Is it Goose or Juice or Beetlejuice or
Yeah,
Juice?
seeing him before he turned into the person we know was
Yeah.
cool.
Realizing that there's actually more to this guy other than being just insane and also annoying because he popped up way too many times for my enjoyment. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because I was not expecting him to make a again, but also now that we know, like, okay, so there's a little bit more to him, and also there's a backstory with him and Amelia, which I found very interesting. But I also was a little bit confused because it seemed like very familiar with him, but it felt like they only just met when the backstory happened, or I don't know if they like skipped some parts of her backstory where it's like, oh, okay, so they met once, they knew each other for a while, and then the climax of that backstory happens and they're separated again. I don't know though, because I was like, you're very familiar with this guy you just met.
Yeah, I'm guessing it took place over a couple weeks where
Yeah.
they grew more familiar when she was finally allowed to leave the house for a bit.
Mm.
So to answer your question, Mitz, about what my favorite part of season 2 is, I honestly didn't. I think on its own, season 2 part 2 was probably my least favorite season of ReZero.
Boo.
I think it was a lot of them just coming up to solutions to problems that existed in the past. And the pace just slowed way down because everyone needed a backstory, everyone needed an explanation, and it just felt like there weren't really many stakes. It was too optimistic almost the whole time. So like by itself, I wasn't really engaged with any part more than anything else. I guess I like the Roswell and Subaru like dynamic of learning Roswell's motivations and like manipulation of characters, but like in conjunction with the part that came before it, I would agree that this had a bunch of payoff and succeeded in what it was trying to do. So while I would say like by itself I didn't enjoy season 2 as much, like I get where it was coming from, and I liked the art with it. I like how they distort people's faces, but it's mainly like reverse shot. Like directing wise, it doesn't do a whole lot of interesting things besides a lot of like Amelia point of view shots, which I did enjoy. I thought those were cool. I also enjoyed Petra's and Frederica's like maid uniforms. They have like a little bow on their chest that look like mustaches. And I thought that was funny every time. But why, at this big dinner party at the end, everyone gets new outfits, everyone is all fancy. Why are they still wearing their maid uniforms? That's what I want to know. That's the real question.
Petra got dressed up. No, but my real question during that part is why did they bring comatose Rem, dress her up in a maid outfit, sit her down, and enjoy the party as if she's still aware?
It's literally so Ram
That's
can stand behind her and be like, "This is my sister," and it's like, okay, like nothing
But like
happened.
in universe, like she didn't really care about Rem. Like she
she
'cause she
forgot
didn't
her.
have any memories of her.
She's like, I guess she looks like me. I guess I'll stand by her and hold her shoulders. No, actually, the funniest Rem moment. Sorry, we're jumping off back. There's I think it's like an episode 9/22/47, depending on how you count your episodes. At 8 minutes and 40 seconds, Rem is finally rescued from the mansion. Spoilers, and she's like strapped onto Frederica's back, and we get, oh, she's here. She's Rem. I mean, she's obviously sleeping or whatever, and we see a shot of her face. And then it zooms in extra close to her face for no reason, and we just see Subaru's like fingers like gingerly touch her cheek, and it's the funniest thing ever. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know why they zoomed in again, but it makes me laugh every time.
I don't know. The characters in the show are very idealistic or whatever, and I could see them putting Rem there just because they don't want to leave her out, even though she's like totally unconscious or whatever.
Yeah, you need the big everyone's happy and together at last.
That's actually the only thing about this. There's two things about ReZero that annoy me. Okay, because I think almost everything about the show is exemplary. We haven't even like discussed the music. The fucking music's amazing. I mean, it's like ridiculous. they didn't even play the damn theme songs really, and the theme song is super good. It's like,
Yeah, like the OP, they
God.
show it twice, and it's pretty great.
That was good. And I knew you were gonna dig the music, Mitz. It's super classical. You got
is.
these like piano pieces for Amelia's emotional journey. You have like, these frantic strings in combat. You have sombering. You have triumphant. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very like talk heavy show. So it doesn't do much besides like ambiance and mood. But when it has a chance to do its thing, it delivers.
I mean, people frou like classical music, but classical music is epic as shit. Like they can do some epic shit with it, and they totally do. But the things about ReZero that annoy me, and just on the note of like of idealism, is that Subaru is like one of the only characters in the show that it kind of annoy me. He's a little too. He's too much of a savior, I guess, and his attitude is very much like, I'm just gonna like talk you into doing what I want, and I'm gonna like save you with my like, you know, he's just trying to save everybody. It's very much like it's an annoying trope that, you know, has popped up time and time again, and it's just kind of like, dude, give it a fucking rest. Like, I know that that's like what the show's about, but Subaru is just he's too much of like everybody's savior, and hearing him like try to talk everybody into quote unquote saving themselves is a little annoying.
I mean, that's coming off the heels of 13 episodes of him like wallowing in despair and suffering from part 1. So I get it. Like, as a standalone, yes, it doesn't seem. This Subaru is not at all like the Subaru from the past. It's the reformed, fully upgraded, new plan of attack, and optimistic boy who thinks that
Subaru.
if I believe in,
2.0.
he's the Subaru that believes in you to believe in yourself, kind of, you know, Gurren Lagann type Subaru. But yeah, he's very one note this season.
Honestly, I love Subaru, but it got annoying when it came to a lot of back and forth with arguments. So there was, I remember one argument with Amelia, and I remember one argument with Beatrice, and there were probably a couple others with like, you know, Garfield and stuff like that. But it got to the point where it's literal back and forth of the same statement for minutes on end, and it's like, come with me out of the mansion. We're going to live, Beatrice. And she's like, but you're not that person. Will you be that person? I'm like, no, I will not be that person. I'm like, but I will not leave this mansion. I made a promise, but like the promise you don't need to do. Why are you gonna keep a promise? 400 years old. And
it's like 14 minutes of that shit.
Pushes him out of the room. He goes back in the room, pushes him out of the room. Everything's on fire. Actually, I will say, I was never so happy to hear the sound of someone's flesh being seared. Because when he was running through the like fiery mansion, he's like opening all these doors. I was like,
how is he still breathing?
Is another question. Yeah, how is he breathing? And all those are metal handles. Those are going to be super hot. Like, how is he just doing that? And then at the very end, he like opens the door, and you hear that like. I'm like, there we go. That's him being cooked alive. Sorry, what was your second thing you disliked, Mitz?
The show is too wordy.
It's
very. It's also pretentious as shit. You know, that's kind of besides the point, and that maybe that's more of an opinion of taste. But the show is wordy as fuck. I mean, it is. I mean, just like Caroline just said, Subaru can stand there and just spout shit at a character for like 14 straight minutes, and like, it's.
We have literal Garfield who has been on this path of like keeping the sanctuary a sanctuary for 10 years, and Subaru talk no jutsus him into being on his side. And then he has like this whole backstory moment that makes him change his mind too, but still, Subaru was the main thing that changed his mind just by talking to him.
He talked no jutsus him at length. Yeah, it's very wordy at times, and that's the only thing that people that want to like constantly have stuff moving, like action show, you know, whatever. I just don't think people will be drawn to ReZero all that much. It's not the kind of show for people with no attention span, is what I would say. Because like when the show is doing action, when it's having action scenes, it's really good at it. You know, just in general, like the display of magic and stuff that they use is, generally speaking, in my opinion, very well done. But it's all the talking between that, and it's really important talking too. You can't just gloss over it. It's all the plot lines and these people's like backstories, and you can't gloss over it. And if you zone out or you have no attention span, like I just think that those are the people that probably won't like ReZero. It's just too. The people that are playing an RPG on like PlayStation, and they get like 10 dialogue boxes into like a conversation and they're like, fuck this, and they start mashing X to get through all the dialogue, those people will not like ReZero because it's just too wordy in my opinion. Do you guys feel the same way?
Yeah,
I was going to ask
mean,
Caroline, do you think that this is the most talk-heavy season? Because I don't remember season 1 being this verbose.
I don't think season 1 was as, yeah. I think the main thing is that because Subaru kind of swore off dying to get into the path that he wanted this season, and because like with season 1 and season 2 part 1, that was kind of his main deal, is like, okay, I'm going to die, learn more, survive, die, learn more, survive. So he was kind of like dealing with this stuff on his own, but because season 2 is him, or season 2 part 2 is him trying to communicate with others, set things up to the way that he doesn't have to die every single time in order to get through it. That is when a lot of conversations happen, and that is when a lot of long conversations happen, and that's when he's trying to get people on his side. And yeah, so I think that's the main reason.
Yeah, I would say getting ripped apart by rabbits is a good reason to spend a little more time
Pretty rough.
communicating.
The most gruesome one.
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
And then you have Amelia, who is insane, so it was weird to see her do that in like season 2 part 1.
And Rosewall's a goober. This whole thing was just a little too, I don't want to say contrived, but this whole plot and scheme was a little excessive for what I think his goal was.
Yeah. And I love how I had assumed that this was the same Rosewall from 400 years ago. And then they go on to say, like, actually, no, it was my descendants. And I'm like, really? You look exactly the same. Are you sure it's descendants? And then it's like a big reveal. It's like, no, actually, I am the same Rosewall from 400 years ago in a different body. I'm like, really? You're not the same. It was just a little strange how it all got revealed. I'm like, are you okay? I mean, it wasn't that much of a reveal, but okay.
Speaking of the rabbits or whatever, the way they handled the rabbits at the end of the season, I thought was a little anticlimactic. Like it's supposed to be this like unkillable beast monster, like it's the great maw beast, blah, whatever, and like they wipe that thing out. It doesn't really do much. It doesn't do anything to them. I get that it's like, oh, Beetlejuice and everybody comes together and they're unstoppable as a threesome or whatever, and I get that, but like still the rabbits they had no shot. I mean, the way they handled them.
Beatrice. Also, Beatrice says there might be an infinite number of rabbits, but there must be an upper limit, which is literally not what the word infinite means.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, and like similar to that whole climax being very easy despite how they set it up to be, I thought the same thing for the trials for Amelia, because we have seen her go through this trial like a dozen times through Subaru's different lifespans, and it's been so difficult for her to get through. And yeah, I think the first trial was a little bit difficult for the both of them, but then it gets to trial number 2 and trial number 3, and she is able to get through it in like 5 minutes, no problem.
She's doing it and asking for like tea parties while she's doing it. Like she's just easy.
Like I know, like now that she has her memories, it's easier, but that was just way too easy. Like how Emilia has a tough backstory to get through for her past trial, but it's just amazing how nobody else is able to pass these trials except for her, and it's just so easy.
I thought you were gonna bring up the death of Elsa, where she's like, "Oh, I can regenerate endlessly," and Garfield's like, "Well, I think you're a vampire," and she's like, "Okay," and he bites her, and she's like, "Oh, I guess I can't regenerate now," and it's like, well. Okay, threat neutralized.
Was that what that was supposed to do? Like him biting her? Was that what was supposed to happen?
Well,
Like her not
he then like crushed her with like a giant corpse. So maybe she just couldn't regenerate everything at once. But what did her being a vampire have to do with her? I don't know. It just felt, I'm gonna kill you to death, and it worked. And you're like, okay, like it wasn't a satisfying solution. Same with the rabbits, but overall, it was a fine season. I don't know if I have all too much to say more.
There's just so much plot, it's almost hard to even discuss the fucking show. I mean, honestly. There's so much to talk about that I'm like, I don't even know where to begin with it. I feel like that this season, though, was... First of all, I made a note, like, there's no fucking way that Subaru knows how to use that sword that they gave him at the end of the season. That guy can't use that sword. He can't even lift that fucking sword.
Yeah, I thought that at first too when he was
And I was
grabbing it.
actually also half expecting when Amelia picks up the sword, because she doesn't know how to use the sword either.
No,
I was
she
expecting it to be so heavy that it would actually just like chop off
It
his
would
shoulder or something.
Oh yeah, we joke. We
That
totally
would be
joked.
his next restart point.
I think Pancake said, "Wouldn't it be funny if she just lopped his head off right now?"
I'd got a pretty good laugh out of Amelia's like, isn't kissing where babies come from? Because I wasn't really expecting that.
Oh my god,
I was
yeah.
thinking more of like her being nervous about like just the kiss. And I'm like, she thinks she's pregnant. And I think that's what happened in like Shield Hero or something like that. And it's kind of a trope, but it was pretty funny, I thought.
I feel like the season was definitive. Like it ended the arc is done. Like so they picked the right spot to end it, I thought. You know,
Agree.
yeah, so it was very I when it wrapped up I said, "Well, that was a very definitive ending," you know? But I know that there's like a ton more ReZero to come. Question is I don't know, the longer they wait in between seasons, I feel like the less people will care. So I wonder if they're going to take a long time or a small amount of time now in between. So if they wait too long, no one's going to remember all this shit that happened. Nobody wants to rewatch the whole fucking last 2 seasons because the plot's so thick and you left us hanging for 2 years or whatever. So I'm hoping, even though I have heard nothing at this point, that we'll get ReZero Season 3 pretty soon here. But I don't think there's been anything announced. I'll check, but...
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think eventually we'll get it. Based on it being consistently the most watched thing whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
Eventually we'll get it.
You guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
All right, I think we shall. We shall. If you'd like to
We gotta
you know,
score
We're
it.
score it, Caroline.
Oh, right.
We're way ahead of yourself.
Damn, I'm
Just
sorry.
slightly ahead.
Don't
It
you
was
wanna
not-
be able to,
not
like-
not that big of a stretch?
Don't you want to drop your authoritative number on this show? You watch so much of
Yes.
it. Caroline should go first. She watched the whole damn thing just for this.
I don't even know what this, because it was good, but we talked most of in our review we talked more about the things we didn't like, but that's also because we talked quite a bit about the show in the past already. I would have to give this show, taking it into my enjoyment, I would give it a 3.5 murder rabbits out of 5.
Yeah, so for me, as the show puts it, what matters isn't how you start or what happens in the middle, it's how it ends. So, while I would say I would put this on the same, individually, I want to score this the same as Season 2 Part 1, which is a 2.5 out of 5. I feel like for the cumulative Season 2 experience, for what it offered with all of these solutions and understanding and a good stopping point, I'm going to give this show 3 trials out of 5. And I feel like this show is probably best experienced on like a rewatch, like when you can already be aware of all the fine threads that bind the fate of the characters, and you can like, with that knowledge, better experience like all the intricacies and like cascading elements at play. Because I think there is a lot of density to the show that I do appreciate, and I think a rewatch would probably lend well to that. So I'm gonna give it a strong 3 and leave it at that.
Man, I like this show a lot more than you guys do, I guess. ReZero, I think, is a super strong show, and it's one of the better shows in the isekai genre for sure. Maybe the best show in the isekai genre lately, I would say. I'd still think 12 Kingdoms is better than this. But you know, I've been giving ReZero like 4s all along, and I think this show is at least that good. And so I just can't. I can't really fault the show for being too wordy, really. I mean, it's like, it has plot to tell. They tell it. It's not my preference to be so wordy. I wish there was maybe 15% more action, 15% less talking. But I don't know. I just feel like, man, it's really tough. I think I'm gonna give the show. I'm gonna stay where I think I was. I think I'm gonna give it. Fuck it. I'm gonna give it. 4.5. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I'm gonna give it 4.5 times
Whoa.
that. Oh man, I'm gonna get 4.5 out of 5, I suppose.
Yeah. Nice.
I suppose.
But the dub, I don't care for the dub much. I think that Subaru's voice is a little a little annoying in the dub. I think it's really dumb how they say "I suppose" in English after every fucking phrase with Beatrice. Like, you're killing me. I get that it'd be the same for Japanese people, but just fuck off with that. And at the same time, also the guy who voices Roswell, you don't have to say this like that. Fucking, I know they do it in Japanese.
What he does.
He does it, I know, but like, fuck off with that. It's annoying. It just makes no. It makes even. I'm sure it doesn't make sense for Japanese people to have to hear him talking like that. But I don't think it makes more sense in English. So yeah, stick to the subs on this one.
I find it funny.
It's watchable. It's watchable dubbed, and if you can't keep up with the subtitles or whatever, or you get distracted on the screen, you miss them. That's a good reason to watch the dub because you can't miss shit. You cannot miss the dialogue. You're fucking done if you do. You're not gonna know what's happening. I don't know everything that happened. I know I lose my focus. I have ADHD, so it's a tough watch, but goddamn it, I love it. It's a good show.
Awesome.
All right, so is it now time to close it out?
Let's do it.
Okay, I jumped the gun
I
earlier.
suppose.
But if you would like to follow the podcast, well, we are on Twitter at AA Podcast. That's where I usually am. But Mitsugi also has Twitter at Pope Mitsugi, and Mason also has Twitter at Macy Pacey. And if you are not really in on Twitter and you'd rather Facebook, you can follow us on Facebook as well, groups at AA Podcast. But we are most active on our Discord, where we have a lot of fun stuff. We have different channels for different interests, anime, manga, and even beyond that, we have podcast, music, ton of good stuff there. And we also have our clubs. First of all, we have Anime Club. We will be we'll be discussing A Silent Voice on June 30th at 10 p.m. EDT. It's a great movie, and I'm sure a lot of people have watched it, but now we're going to discuss it. Mason, what's Manga Club doing?
Manga Club is reading the first 2 volumes of Blue Period. This is going to be having an anime adaptation that I think will be really good, so check this one out. We'll be discussing that on June 23rd at 10 p.m. EDT.
Great. So if you'd like to join our Discord, you can find the link at aapodcast.com. So do we know what's coming up next episode? I believe you guys are reviewing 86.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be good. And join us
86,
next time, 5 p.m. EDT
I believe
on
we
Twitch.
might have a guest next week as well, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, because I won't be here, so I'm sorry. All right, so I think it's time for us to leave. So, sayonara.
I'm peacing out.
Have a good one.
Mitts out. Bye.